These are some of the biggest tax updates as of the beginning of 2025, and so I wanted to share them with you. My name's Matt, and I'm a CPA that runs a firm called TrueBooks, where we specialize in tax and accounting for real estate investors and small business owners. And so some of these topics are going to be partnership information and the IRS and how they're cracking down on some of these partnerships, S corporations. I know some of my small business owners out there, you've probably heard me say a million times that at some point in your business, it likely makes sense to be an S corporation, and also some IRA information, when and how you can take some of this money out penalty free. So let's dive into them. Now, the IRS has a ton of different initiatives when it comes to enforcement, and one of them is partnership non-compliance. Now, one of the things that they're watching for when it comes to partnerships is losses in excess of basis. And what I want to explain here is it's very important that if you are a part of a partnership, or if you're part of an S corporation or you own an S corporation, that you understand what your basis is. And basis, think of it as skin in the game. If I start a business and I put $100 in the business and I end up churning $20 in profit and I'm left with $120 at the end of the year, that would mean that my basis in easy form or simple math would be $120. Now, let's say that I go out and I take a loan and it's worth $200 and I take all $200 out of that business. That $200 is in excess of the $120 that I had for my basis. And so you could see right there that you're essentially taking more out of the business than what you had as far as skin in the game goes. And it's something that the IRS is really cracking down on, because ultimately you should only be able to take losses of what you invested in a partnership up to what your skin in the game was. And so one of the problems that they're seeing is people inappropriately and incorrectly reporting these partnership losses on not only the partnership return, but ultimately the K-1s that flow through to your individual returns as well. So just know that if you're involved in a partnership, make sure that you're tracking your basis and that whoever is doing the tax work around that is doing the tax work correctly, so you can trust the information that's coming to you. Now, federal disasters. We obviously had some of those back in 24. Now, similar to 2020, Congress has come back and given some of these tax reliefs to these people who have ran into disasters in 2024. With the main change being individuals can take personal disaster losses without having to itemize your deductions. This is big because in the tax world, you either take a standard deduction or the itemized deduction, and you're gonna take whichever one is higher. And some of these deductions only fall under the itemized category. But let's say at the end of the day, your itemized deductions don't beat your standard, then you never got them. But in this case, they're allowing people with these personal disaster losses to take these losses even if they don't itemize on their tax return. So this is what they put in place. You were able to deduct uninsured personal losses in excess of a $500 threshold without regard to the 10% of adjusted gross income offset that generally applies. So normally there is this sort of floor that you have to beat before you get any sort of tax deduction. But again, because of this disaster relief, they've gotten rid of that. Next is IRAs. And as you know, if you take out money from an IRA prior to being 59 and a half years of age, you will get hit with a 10% penalty. But there are ways to avoid this and still get money out of these IRAs. And so let's go over some of those. One of them being disasters. And so in this case, you're able to take up to $22,000 out of an IRA for disaster relief if you were affected. Now keep in mind, this applies to both IRAs and 401ks. Both are retirement plans. This is a bit of a weird one, but you can choose to take substantially equal payments until you're 59 and a half, and that would be a way to avoid the penalty. Big medical expenses that beat that so-called 7.5% floor, that is another eligible criteria. Family emergency expenses up to $1,000. And then there's an exception that only applies to IRAs, which is health insurance while you're unemployed, the cost of higher education, first-time home buyers, all up to 10 grand. So with IRAs and 401ks, sometimes you have to strategize how you can get money out of these plans prior to that 59 and a half year mark, penalty free, because remember, typically you're hit with that 10% penalty. So this is an interesting one related to tax debts. And what's important to note here is that the State Department can deny or revoke U.S. passports of people with tax debts of $62,000 or more on whom a tax lien or levy has been filed. And an interesting court case here is a man who owed $1.1 million in tax debts over multiple years claimed that the IRS erroneously certified his outstanding tax liabilities as seriously delinquent tax debt to the state, and the appeals court upheld the tax court's decision that the Revenue Service followed each of the requirements that were applicable in that statute. This is kind of related to the partnership talk that we had, and the only thing that I want to bring up here is this basis topic again, but when it comes to S corporations, not only could you run into the same potential problems by not calculating your basis when it comes to distribution with S corps, and if that sounds like a foreign language, then I hope if you find yourself in the same situation that you have somebody that you're working with. But it's very important that when it comes to S corporations that you now have to track your basis on Form 7203, and that has to be part of your individual tax return and business tax return. So make sure that if you are running an S corporation for your business or you are part of one, that you are keeping track of your basis. And really what that means is your accountant is keeping track of that basis schedule. So something to check for, Form 7203. Now here's a little tip on enforcement and how the IRS is looking at it through their criminal investigation division. But their criminal investigation division pursued fewer overall cases this year in 2024. It began 2,667 cases for fiscal year 2024 compared to 2,676 in 2023, and it prosecutes nearly 70% of its cases and has a successful conviction rate of 90%. So just goes to show you, don't screw around when it comes to your taxes. Now, what we're gonna end it with is that we're coming up on the tax season now, right? We just finished 2024. We're coming into filing that 2024 return now in 2025. And if you've had any trouble in the past with any sort of identity theft or anything like that, I would recommend that you get a PIN, a personal identification number with the IRS to help safeguard any data that you may be subject to losing or have fraud put against you when it comes to filing your taxes. Now, this is a 6-digit number, and the way to apply for one is you would go to Get an Identity Protection PIN, IP PIN, on the IRS's website, and you'd be able to get one right there. And they likely would mail it to you. And the last little quirk with PINs is this could help people that have dependents that are shared amongst different tax returns. So for example, if you're divorced and you and your spouse, maybe one year you take a dependent and then the other year they do, this would help you with potential rejections of filing returns with inappropriate dependents if you have an IP PIN. Now, those are just a few of the updates that I found it to be helpful to talk about coming up to tax season. So remember, partnerships, making sure that you're tracking basis, making sure that you're not taking expenses that are normally disallowed. S corps, making sure that you're, again, tracking your basis and that your accountant is doing that for you and at least providing those forms to you. IRS disaster relief, making sure that if you were affected by any of those disasters in 2024, that you're recognizing any benefit that you can to ultimately bring down your tax bill. And if you're looking to pull money from a 401k, an IRA, first check if you can fit one of those exceptions so that you avoid that 10% penalty. And as always, if you have any questions or want me to talk about anything else, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.